the Olympics on the Good Girls podcast. This is SJ here with my co-host Kay to have a totally non-scientific and irreverent take on things that have happened in the Olympics over the past how many thousand years?
Forever.
Yeah,
Yes.
a long time ago, thousands of years.
That is
long
the scientific
time event.
answer.
And basically our thesis being that
They've always been horny.
Olympians have been super horny since they ran their first little race. So
yeah, I was interested in the original Olympics in Greece, and so I looked back at this because I'm like, I bet there was a lot of sex there too. I bet that there was whatever the version back then was of handing out condoms and the beds being tested for sex and all that.
having cardboard beds to keep the ancient Greeks from whatever the ancient Greek equivalent of cardboard was.
So I
Just to
found
save money and be sustainable. Come on, guys.
So wonderful things were found out. So most important is that the word gymnasium originates from the ancient Greek word gymnasion. That's not how you
That's
say
totally
it,
how
I'm sure.
you pronounce it.
Yeah.
You're a scholar in ancient Greek.
Any Greek listener is like, oh my gosh. And so gymnos literally means naked or nude, and gymnazo means to train naked or to exercise. And so in ancient Greece, male athletes trained and competed in nude at public centers. And that's not even my favorite part.
I do just want to interject that when you texted me that fun fact, this was shortly after Mr. SJ was going to the gym with his friends, that he has like a little
He
gym squad,
totally
too.
does nude workouts with his
And I was just like
friends.
picturing them being like ancient Greek and being like, come on, guys, let's like strip down and oil up and hit the gym.
So
I love that for them.
they were naked, but some of them would have kynodesme. Please look up kynodesme, Kynodesme. It is a little string that you tie around your foreskin for the uncircumcised penis, because showing the actual head of the penis was considered to be vulgar.
I
So in
agree.
case
That's
they did-
tacky.
Yeah.
The shaft, fine. The balls, fine.
The uncircumcised shaft is totally appropriate in public, but if I see that head of the penis, I'm like, what? Do you want like too much, too much? I would way rather you have a string tied around it.
I did look this up. I found a website called Wienerology. Sidebar, we're going to have to do a whole episode about things that I read on Wienerology.
And definitely much better word than penology.
Yeah, it's a serious website, though. It's about how basically art has been super into phallic shapes since all of time, and we all just, are very focused on the male genitalia or the men are focused on it in their artistic expression. Anyway, so I did read an article about it there. It didn't have a video. I have yet to find a video of a modern day person showing how that would go on. I mean, I guess that would technically be NC-17 rated. So I'm confused about
Would
the
you want
logistics.
to click and watch the video?
I would watch, Kay, just for research purposes.
Maybe if they were like
just for our
colored like
listeners.
an AI body purple or something, I would watch.
Honestly, I might have to create one after this because I
So
didn't
we can all
understand how it
envision.
works.
Yes. And then the other thing is that the average Greek citizen woman was not invited to the Olympics. So if you imagine this, all the men go to the stadium
All
without
oiled up.
their wives to watch these oiled up naked men, besides the head of their penis, engage in wrestling and races.
As long as the head of their penis is covered, I think that it's very tasteful. I did read a interview with the author Tony Perrottet of The Naked Olympics. And apparently sometimes the daughters were there because there was some fathers who would bring their daughters and in hopes of finding them a nice muscular husband. So you couldn't come unless it's like touching a unicorn, you had to still be a virgin, but wives definitely could not come.
Though women were allowed who were strippers or prostitutes.
Yes. So I guess I should change that up a little bit. Yeah, it's not whether or not you had sex. So not the same rules as unicorns.
Yes, quote-unquote barbarian prostitutes were allowed who were exotically and scantily attired. So this kind of
Barbarian prostitute is an amazing Halloween costume theme. Listeners, please submit your barbarian prostitute costume ideas. Love to see them.
So I just love the idea of combining so many things that men love. They're basically going to a big strip club / Vegas where they're also engaging in animalistic style
Yeah.
competitions. The naked thing, I feel like we just need, as a society today to be more open about male nudity and all that type of stuff, but
About male
otherwise,
and female nudity.
this all fits something that a man would wanna do today and is not too different from the average sports
Fucking some
things.
16-year-old boys thrown in there.
Yeah, pederasty, is that how you pronounce it?
I think
Totally
so.
welcome there
That's
with the
another
young
word that
with
I've
some.
mostly just read. To add to that, I did read that some athletes' training regimens did include abstaining from sex and masturbation because they thought that that increased their focus, which really just adds into your theory, Kay, that not a lot has changed amongst the men because I feel like that's a total
It's
manosphere
totally
blogger
something you
thing
would see
that they're
today.
like, oh yeah, I just haven't touched my dick in 80 days because my mind is so sharp and clear and I'm going to start a business now or a
Well,
podcast.
I love the idea of all these, like, sexually pent-up men who haven't masturbated or had sex, then going and being all over naked and oiled up another muscular man.
I
It's
know,
like,
just
yeah, no
wrestling
wonder
together.
there's, like, increased rates of homosexual
And then
sex in men.
presumably after the competition, you can just go to town on some boys or barbarian prostitutes, so I guess that's why they're there.
You choose what's more problematic, a 10-year-old boy or a barbarian prostitute. I might have to cut that, I don't even know if I'm
Okay, so I did,
We are
because
anti both things.
well, Mr. SJ was a philosophy major and
Oh, I thought you
specialized
were
in
about to
ancient
say he was a
Greece.
child prostitute.
Not that I know of, but I don't know if there was like a hands-on part of any of the philosophy classes, but he focused on the ancient Greek stuff. So we did ask him about this, and he said that by boys it typically meant more like young men, although I don't know, with some of them I'm sure that their tastes varied a little bit. But they're maybe more like teenagers. So there's that.
You're right. When you're 15, you're totally willing and able to consent to
Oh, I'm
love
not
with
saying
a
that they were old enough to
50-year-old
consent.
man.
Now, I do sound like Megyn Kelly here. I did just want to clarify that a little bit, that they were unlikely to be like 10 years old, but I do sound like Megyn Kelly defending some pedophiles there when I say
Totally
that.
consenting, yeah.
Yeah,
They would have had
totally.
their driver's license in today's world. They could definitely ride a 40-year-old man all smelly and, like,
It was the equivalent of a
going
driver's
and
license
peeing in a
then was
latrine.
riding a smelly old man. The second thing that I asked him about is totally unrelated to ancient Greeks, and that was the logistics of running around. For a woman, I'm just picturing just running around with no sports bra, that would just be hugely uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know what they did because there were women in ancient Greece who
You're
were
right. They would,
athletic.
like, want a cup or something.
According
Um,
I apparently the
that
cup
little
is more like the
string was not going to
protection, and
do.
a lot of them are just out there jogging in boxers and shorts, or I've known some men who mention that they don't like to wear any undergarments under their shorts because they find that constrictive. So I guess I was told that we're really picturing it wrong, if we're trying to falsely equate your titties swinging around with your male cock and balls swinging around. It's just not the same thing, especially because this is a flaccid penis we're talking about. So I guess unless you're being incredibly generous and you're really more of a shower than a grower, there's not a lot of excess tissue flapping around down there.
I guess I just wonder for the competitions, like wrestling and such, like, wouldn't you feel even more exposed going with, like, your most sensitive part not even
That is true.
covered?
I wonder, I mean, maybe there were just rules against this, but what's to stop you from just like reaching over and like giving the guy a little
Oh my
testicle
gosh, just a
twister or
little hand
something?
job,
Yeah,
but not a nice one.
yeah, just like a little
Or
bit. Like they
disarming
might
them with
not
such.
even notice exactly to just knock them down. I feel like there are cases where I would want the protective cup, and it's not to keep my dick from swinging around and slapping me in the leg while I'm running, and more,
Your
yeah, to just
imaginary dick.
prevent, yeah, my imaginary dick, and more to prevent somebody from punching me in the crotch.
I understand.
I did just want to throw in, Kay, a fun fact that I learned that there were women's Olympic Games in ancient Greece, and they were very clearly second tier, but also took place in Olympia, devoted
Not
to
different
Hera.
from today.
Yeah, really not different from today.
Paid a
I
little less.
so I feel like they had fun outfits for the women too. This was also from the Naked Olympics. The women ran in short tunics with their right breast exposed as an homage to the Amazon warrior women, and they were believed to have cauterized their right breast, so as not to impede their javelin throwing, according to myth, which sounds very painful.
So the right boob was just exposed.
Yeah, I think that they just more symbolically had their right titty out in the wind as a nod to the Amazons without actually taking it off because then they needed to go back to their regular lives after this.
Huh.
But again, I just really wonder about women athletes before the advent of the sports bra and how they were doing any of this shit. I guess you could kind of just like bind your chest up a little bit, and that's about as
Like
close as we
cloth
got.
bindings.
Yeah,
Eh.
because there were also the women, Mulan being the most famous, but in all militaries, there were typically like some women in there who were passing as men, or just like women passing as men in society in general, and they were doing that by just binding their chests really tightly with strips of cloth. So I guess they must have been doing that. God bless the inventor of the sports bra.
Thank you, inventor of the sports bra, a person who
Yeah.
should be recognized more.
One of my rowers that I coached when I used to coach this adult recreational team, I coached this really awesome woman who was in her 70s and still rowing, and she gave me this book called Game Face that was just a collection of photos of women doing games and athletics and sports all over, just recreational games, hopscotch, Olympians, all kinds of things, and it had some interesting stuff in it, and one was about the invention of the sports bra. So I do remember reading about it and just the women talking about how monumental it was when they started creating athletic wear for women. This is in the past 50 years, though. So
Oh.
just really feel like that was a huge issue before then.
Ugh.
Anyway, long story short, from the Naked Olympian, my takeaway is that ancient Greek athletes were basically stars of a similar level that would set them up for life, successfully competing in the games. Except in lieu of having like an endorsement deal with Nike, they would get large vats of olive oil. Other than that, basically the exact same thing. So really, nothing has changed.
Yeah, what I appreciated was that they've, like, always been horny even when it was just men in attendance pretty
Yeah,
much, so,
men and barbarian
yeah,
prostitutes.
it's like, it's not okay how much, the young female gymnasts are sexualized and all that, but it was also happening to the oiled up men with the little tie around their uncircumcised foreskin, hiding their head, so I don't
I hope
know,
some
we
of them decorated a little bit just to have a little, like, male equivalent of vajazzling on their
little
foreskin
special
string.
string,
Yeah,
little
put some
rainbow.
charms on it.
Oh my gosh, that's, like, so disturbing, like, the least sexy thought you could possibly have.
Especially if your little charms get caught on something and then you just get accidentally circumcised.
Oh.
Again, I don't really understand how this string works, so I'm not sure if it getting caught on something accidentally circumcises you or not. I really need the
M
AI
my
generated
husband's
video
also Jewish, so I don't even have, like, a good picture of, like, how
of,
that
like,
all works.
what is
Yeah.
a foreskin?
Yeah.
We need to know.
How could it be tied? I haven't spent a lot of intimate time with the foreskin before. I guess I never will in my life unless, the husband dies on the earlier side, we'll
Or
see.
he grants you a hall pass, but it's just for scientific reasons
Just for
to
an uncircumcised male.
you're like, Craigslist want ad, man with sizable foreskin for experiments
You know what? I will ask for a hall pass for maybe my
for science
birthday,
reasons.
and I'll just show him what I wanted to post on Craigslist, and he'll understand that
Yeah. You're like,
it's
obviously this is
not
very
for
research
love. It's
focused.
just for an uncircumcised
We
penis.
all know that you're a researcher
Yeah.
and that
I heard that there's
permeates
more
all aspects of your
foreskin
life.
involved. So moving into modern day and different funny things with modern day Olympics.
I just want to jump right in with the Norwegian ski jumper crotch-padding scandal because I feel like this is kind of unrelated to general talk about people being horny in the
Was he
Olympic
padding
Village.
it to, like, look like he had a bigger peenie, or
No. So apparently this is a big deal in ski jumping world and that the extra material there, so the more material you have on there, just fins the plane of your body as you're jumping and makes you more aerodynamic and also gives you a little bit of stability. Even an additional centimeter of material thickness can result in an extra 3 meters, which is huge. And obviously, sometimes people are winning by inches in this sport. So, in the World Championships last year in March, the people who were responsible for the uniforms for two of the Norwegian ski jumpers, they were caught red-handed on tape sewing in the middle of the night, adding extra crotch padding to the
this is
uniforms.
so surprising for Norway. I
I
did not
know.
think of Norway as
Well,
being
and
a cheating
people I
country.
saw this guy's 45-minute video. I did not watch the whole thing, but this guy went on 45-minute rant in the video, because, yes, Norway is very high profile. Anyway, so they were caught on tape. It was submitted to the media. The people responsible were banned from the sport for 18 months, and the two skiers claimed they didn't know anything, so they only got a 3-month ban.
Oh, yeah, sure. They had no idea. They couldn't feel all the extra padding in their crotch.
I know. They were just just like,
fun.
"Oh, wow, I must have just grown a little bit due to all of this abstaining from sex to prepare myself and increase my focus. I just have a lot of pent-up animus down there." Um, Now, though, they are really ramping up crotch security for the Milan Olympics, so this is a fun thing for you to look out for, I guess. They've, like, put microchips in the suits. They are doing, like, 3D body scans in advance to get their
Like, in the
measurements.
crotch?
I one can assume, this is just an amazing level of technology being used on what I feel like is a very silly thing, but go off, ski
Yes.
rule enthusiasts. So not only are they padding up their suits a little bit, which sure, go for it. The latest scandal, obviously they're calling it penis gate, is that they measure your body and stuff and they measure your suit in advance. So they're like, what if we just made our penises bigger before we did the 3D body scans so that I guess it both pushes your suit out a little bit, increasing the surface area, and because it makes you have to have a bigger suit to encompass your girthier penis. So, the news story is that you're just looking at me with this completely incredulous expression, Kay. So,
Well, it's just how much girth are they adding to their penis that would make a
this is
difference?
debatable, right? And that was when I was reading some articles and they were, like, interviewing some, urologists and stuff, and, yeah, they were like, "You'd have to put a lot." So it's hyaluronic acid is what they're using. They're injecting it in, and that is something that is already, like, commonly injected in and used in fillers and things like that. Apparently, according to my research, it's used in, like, penis enlargement in general, like, people doing it for non-Olympic reasons. So there is some something to draw on. Like, it wasn't like some guy one day was like, "Holy shit, what if I put some hyaluronic acid in my dick?" However, they did say that, yeah, probably you'd have to do quite a lot, put quite a lot of hyaluronic acid in there to see any effects. And I guess, again, you're in an Olympic sport, so you're talking about anything that could maybe gain you an inch
Even
or
like a
two.
0.1 second, yeah.
Of ski length, not of penis girth, would help you get a little bit closer, but there are quite a lot of risks associated with it, especially if it's not done correctly. I would also imagine at the quantities that we're talking about, it's more than just a little plump up to get you ready for Valentine's Day.
Then they're also looking good for the Olympic Village.
That's true, and as we discussed in this episode, it's really important to be sexy in the Olympic Village and just really take fully in that opportunity.
Well, I hope that you have the best of luck with your slightly bigger penises,
Yeah.
skiers, and I hope it was worth it, and maybe that you just continue doing it afterwards
I
and
mean,
enjoy.
honestly, it can't be that much worse, the side effects of what it's doing to your body than the people who are, like, doing steroids, like, that really messes up the male business end of things, so, I guess they're just, a little cosmetic filler, just plumping it up.
It's just funny to think, like, you do all that and then, like, something happens, like an unexpected fall or trip, and you're like, "I changed my penis dimensions for this," but,
Oh, yeah, and then you just, like, fell or something, or you were just, like, thrown off balance because you had not practiced with such a girthy penis enough, so you just, like, tip over at the
there's
start.
no way. I refuse to believe that that much girth is being added. Like,
They're
maybe
just
you
tip
had, like,
over,
a
they're like,
very
"Timber!"
small. Yeah.
I don't know, and anyway, so it lasts, like, 6 to 12 months, before it starts to kinda decline, so I guess the idea is that you do it before you get your 3D body scan, in which they're doing that to check out to make sure that then later you're not, like, adding any padding and things like that, and that your suit is all correct, so I guess you just kinda need it to get through your body scan and then your, um your competitions, and then you can just kinda let it fade away, unless it becomes a lifestyle that you really just start to enjoy.
Yeah, and you wanna keep that bigger penis. Well, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
So, speaking of crotch padding, condoms being handed out in Olympic Village is a big thing. It, like, averages
My favorite
something
kind of
like
crotch padding.
42 per athlete. Like, how many condoms are needed per athlete?
I guess so, but I did see one figure at the Paris Olympics that there are, like, 14,000 total, like, athletes and staff, so I'm not sure how much the free condoms are being accessed by not
Just
just
the
the athletes
athletes versus
themselves.
also
Yeah, because if you thought of it, it ended up being 20,000 total condoms. It was originally 10,000, and then they had to do an emergency
emergency
condom
supply.
order, which, made a lot of people titter in the news. But still, 20,000 total condoms, I don't know how much of that is distributed
I
amongst
guess
14,000 total people or the athletes, which is a much
and
smaller group.
maybe I don't know, like, how many condoms are on average used per night in any context.
I guess it depends a lot on what you're doing, doesn't it?
And,
I also don't I mean, I do wonder how much of it is just, like, when there are freebies, people just take that shit.
I
People
heard the
who take
Paris ones were cute. They said little things like,
yeah.
"Consent first and everything,
Leave
so
it to
you
the
take
French.
it." Yeah,
Well, and I just think how often people, like, steal little bottles of hotel shampoo, and I'm like, "Are you really gonna use all those bottles of hotel shampoo? That's
you're
like
right. I
a
would totally
teaspoon of
take some
shampoo."
condoms
I
just as
would
a little
take some free
keepsake.
condoms. I used to teach at a GED school, and we had a free box of condoms, and people were just coming some of the guys were coming and taking handfuls all the time, and I'm like, "Do you have a side business reselling these condoms? Like, what is going on? I don't think that you're getting laid that much." Maybe they were.
Maybe it was a side business. So dental dams as well, and I do wonder, like, how often do you think dental dams are used in real life?
I think that that depends. I think that's a question of who is hooking up with whom. I think that they did that as a measure to be more inclusive.
I wonder if it's something that is more common among, like, prostitutes and hired people than
I was gonna
among
say
the
amongst like
average.
women having sex with women.
Oh, okay, yes, that's very fair when, like, you're more likely to be
Yeah, that's like your main encounter with the other person's sexual
okay,
fluids.
that
So
helps.
yeah, especially because the way that it was reported at the time was in a measure of inclusivity. Although I was watching some daytime talk show that was doing a session on this before the Paris Olympics, I guess, like with the news that they had or done a 10,000 emergency condom order. And one of them mentioned that they were noted for more inclusivity this year because they had also included dental dams in the distribution. And one of the hosts of the show was seriously like, "What's a dental dam?" And I was like, "Girl, go to sex ed."
Oh, come on, you need to at least know.
I know. Like, it's fine if you haven't used one before, but you don't know what that is. Seriously, I think I knew what that was in high school.
Maybe they need to be rebranded, like,
Yeah, I do agree.
renamed.
It is also just that the name is kind of funny. So
Dental
I feel
dam
like
no more. Make it, like a, I don't
they can
know, pussy
some market
protector.
yeah, exactly. Some marketing person can come up with a way better name for them. I have seen preliminary reports already. Phoebe Becker, who's an ice dancer from Great Britain and has been doing a lot of TikToking from the Olympic Village, and she confirmed that the beds are not cardboard this year, and indeed they have real mattresses on them. Seems really nice, I guess. After Tokyo, we're really on the upward trajectory for bed
Tokyo was
quality.
so sweet, though. It was so very, very sweet part of Japanese culture that they're like, it can accommodate 3 people's jumping on them after an exciting win. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Tokyo. Um, and that actually, to me, does affect how likely I don't know, let me change that. I feel like if you're in, like, a sturdy relationship where you can have sex in a lot of different places, if your bed sucks, you really might not have sex in that bed. A bed can actually be a nice preventive, measure t to sex. Times Square, Hilton Inn in New York City, I'm looking at you. Uh, that was a nice little preventive, like, "Okay, I'm too uncomfortable to wanna have sex in this situation." Bidets.
Oh, yes. I also saw that a lot of the American athletes were confused about the bidets, and I'm like, "Come on, Americans, again, you're making us look bad. You
We
we
know
know
what a
what
bidets
bidets
are. We
are."
don't use them, but we know
Again,
what they
like,
are.
maybe they're not part of your common usage. I would argue it's just because you haven't tried a bidet yet, and you're still just, like, scraping your butthole clean with dry wads of paper.
I still think that it does not make sense that we have Americans, like, if we're gonna insist no bidet, can we at least move over to wet wipes? Like, toilet paper is very, very hard for some situations.
Exactly. We're not gonna go into details, but you all know the
Well,
situation.
I understand the sustainability concerns, which is why the bidet is probably better, but I do think the
Let's just
bidet
get
takes some,
bidets.
like, lifelong skill of, like, knowing exactly how to work it, that it's
I guess so. I feel like they've made it a lot simpler now that they've made those ones that you can just retrofit in an existing toilet with a bidet because I do agree that having a whole separate appliance in this day and age when we have the technology, I mean, if you've been to Japan and you've sat on those toilets, like we are just really living in the like stone age over here in the US that you once you've experienced a toilet with like a heated seat, just like built-in cleansing features, it plays a little song for you. That shit's nice. The toilet bowl lights up, just a little bit at night so that you can go in and
I do
pee.
love it when the toilet bowls light up a
I
little
like that
bit.
too. Yeah, exactly. better cleaning technology. Anyway, I'm just saying America's not as civilized as we make ourselves out to be.
Our toilets really need to step it up. Bidets should not be a surprise, but we feel bad for people when they come to America that they have to use our
Yeah, find out more on my
mediocre
upcoming
toilets.
episode. That's just me ranting about toilets.
So some athletes that are particularly amazing and worth shouting out. Lindsey Vonn, she's 41 and she's still competing and she still looks so awesome. Like, she's still so hot, and also related because 'cause we've talked about hockey recently and how hockey is a predominantly white sport, possibly one of, like, the more problematic reasons why it's so popular among, romance writers and such, and she is married to one of the few Black NHL players. They make about 3 to 4% of the NHL, and he's retired
Oh.
now, but
Do they
very
have
cool.
children? Because
He's totally a babe, and so
I
they
feel
do
like they
have
would have, like,
kids. They're
beautiful athletic children.
very attractive winter sport children.
Yeah, exactly. They're just gonna be good at everything. Speaking of, I also wanna shout out to the women who have a kid and then go back to being freaking Olympic athletes. I felt like it was a real feat for me to be able to run a mile again or something after giving birth, and so some of these moms are really impressive.
Allyson Felix.
Yeah. She had an emergency C-section, right?
And she's just so powerful looking and so graceful.
Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is another one. I feel like the track and field athletes are the really impressive ones, especially because that is straight up athleticism. She gave birth a day after the women's 100-meter finals at the 27 Worlds in London. She had an emergency C-section, and then makes it back to the 2019 World Championships at age 32 and made history by becoming the first mother and the oldest woman to win the 100-meter sprint.
Go
Described as a
Shelly-Ann!
victory for motherhood. Yeah, two that are Winter Olympians are Callie Humphreys and Kendall Coyne-Schofield. I know will be competing. She's on the women's U.S. hockey team. She's a four-time Olympian, and she will be at the 2026 Winter Games, so very
Woohoo!
badass.
Yay! Inspiring us all to go just a little bit harder. I love watching the Olympics because I love watching people's, like, success stories, and I love seeing, like, the sappy stories about how I started at this point, and then this setback happened and they overcame. I cry every single time I watch the Olympics, and it doesn't matter which country or which
Mhm.
sport. Um, but there is something sexy about it besides that one where you're, like, I mean, the little ball. You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about.
curling. I've always appreciated the, Sports Illustrated does bodies issue. It is kind of like a men and women's bodies kinds of things. It's impressive from the perspective of they're usually scantily clad, but obviously there are a lot of people looking at it and being like, this is sexy, I'm gonna jerk off to this." But they're trying to present it
You've
as
never
just like
jerked off to a Sports Illustrated before? Just
well,
kidding.
only the swimsuit edition. But I feel like it's presented in this way that it is just supposed to be the human body is so amazing. And I feel like that's more when I'm watching this. I'm just like, oh my gosh, these people are so impressive. Like, I am enamored of their bodies, but just in the sense
Like,
of like,
how high they're
how
able to
do you
jump,
get
all
your
that.
body to do that? Yeah. And especially these women who have had babies and go back. It's just so impressive what the human body can do. So I have enjoyed those issues in the past more from the perspective of a lot of your limits on what you can do are actually like much more mental than physical if you just keep training yourself.
Okay, so you're 17, you have no idea who your future husband is or anything,
Mm.
and somebody comes up and they tell you that when you're 30, you're gonna be married to a Winter Olympic athlete. What
Oh.
sport do you think that he
Oh,
plays?
curling, definitely, because let's be honest, that's
You're
the
gonna
best
pick
I'm
a
gonna be able to
curler?
bag. No, I didn't say I'd pick, I'm just saying that's
You
probably what
didn't
I'd
say you
end up with.
Okay, this is, like, supposed to be, like, a dreamlike
Oh, okay, I
world.
get to
You're already
pick.
past 30.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
I didn't I thought that it
I
was just
wasn't
like
gonna ask you what's most realistic for you.
Okay. Um, well, I'm not sure that after our heated rivalry episode, I went and looked up a bunch of pictures of hockey players, and I don't think that they're on average as hot as you're saying. And then there is the whole issue with like they get their teeth knocked out, but I feel like a lot of them are just kind of like, I don't know.
They just don't give you cello vibes.
They don't look like they would play the cello, so they're out. I'm gonna choose one of the like sledding kind of sports, like bobsled or luge. Um,
Is that because you find it most attractive, or is that just going on with your feeling that you're gonna let yourself think that you, like, couldn't get with,
no, It is not due to my own self-esteem. It is I feel like well, first of all, bobsledding, it's a team sport. I feel like I'd be attracted to somebody who has to, like, work together on a team. They still have to be in really good shape. So I feel like most of the skiers are out because guys that I have known that have been into skiing, it's their whole personality, and that just sounds annoying. Like, all of our vacations would just have to be skiing-related stuff, and I mean, skiing is fine, but I'm just not that into it. So I feel like all the
Whereas
skiing
you think
ones are
that
out for me.
bobsledders would not be that way?
Well, I mean, any athlete is gonna be, like, really intense. Like, I'm just saying, like, skiing is not just a sport, it's also just, like, a whole lifestyle kind of thing, and I associate it with guys that are just, like, a little bit douchey. Not
Hmm.
that they're all douchey. And then the figure skaters, I don't know, there are probably straight figure skaters, but I feel like
So,
they're
actually, a
probably
very
mostly hooking
hot
up
book this past
with the
year
other
was, like,
lady
a
figure
figure
skaters.
skating one.
Okay, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
totally, but I feel like they're probably all kind of incestuous, and the straight ones are hooking up with all the girl figure skaters, so I don't need to get into that whole
The
tangled
straight ones
mess.
get their say and, like, girls that
Yeah, the
get
straight
because
ones are
they're much
absolutely
more
just cleaning up amongst
it's
the
like the
female
straight
figure
male
skaters.
nurses, I say as I've I
Yeah, and then I thought, like, speed skating sounds kind of cool, but I don't know if it's anything like the bicyclists. I feel like ones that are so heavy on a particular muscle group, those are people who look kind of insane in real life. Like, their quads and stuff are probably so incredibly huge and bursting out versus they don't have to work their upper bodies quite as much. So I feel like they would just be sort of, like, weirdly disproportionate like the Olympic bicyclists, and that would actually not be that hot.
so you don't want some guy with some massive quads and tushy.
I mean, I would be fine as long as it were sort of in the correct balance and proportion to his upper body muscularness, but I just feel like sports where you unnaturally sort of overemphasize one half of the body ends up with people who look a little bit topsy-turvy.
That's fair.
I mean, that's just me being really judgmental as I sit here and, like, eat Cheetos, but yeah. How about you, Kay? I'm just gonna go ahead and guess hockey player for you.
Maybe a freestyle skier, I think would
Okay,
be a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of fun to watch
yeah.
and everything, and it's just, like, seems like a fun personality. I'm just saying because I'm posing myself the question the same way, whereas this is more like I'm 17 or 18 and what
You
type of
have your whole life ahead of
personality
you.
do I think I guess actually at that age, I thought hockey was the sexiest thing in the
Yeah, I was
entire
gonna say at
world,
that age, I
so
probably would have been into snowboarders because I feel like the whole surfer dude aesthetic was in, and I would have thought that snowboarders were super hot, and I always had, like,
never
crush
liked the
on the snowboard
surfboard.
guys. When I was in the ski club, I had a crush on the snowboard guys and their winter surfer vibes.
I like the vibe. I like the idea of people who do freestyle skiing, but I probably
I'm
have
telling you,
had
you'd have to go on a lot of ski vacations.
I've had the most lifelong crushes on NHL hockey players.
I would like for you to present your top 10 to me of hottest hockey athletes, and I will give my feedback on them.
Okay, so Patrick Sharp played for the Blackhawks.
Okay, I'm seeing a picture of him in a suit. I like it.
Yes, and remember he's 44 now, but he's been playing
So he's, like,
since he
age
was very
appropriate for
young.
me. Okay.
Yes, so Patrick Sharp is one, and then Sidney
Really
Crosby
chiseled
is, like,
jaw.
automatically it has to be mentioned.
Um,
You don't think that Sidney Crosby's hot? You don't think that Sidney Crosby's hot? I mean, I don't Sid the Kid is, like, objectively an attractive
yeah.
person.
This is one where I actually like him better, all sweaty in his hockey gear and giving intense looks across the ice. That is very hot. I feel like his, little team photo headshot things, he just looks kinda dorky. He doesn't nobody gave him coaching on, like, how to his selfie appropriate, how to
Well, he was
show off
just
his looks
too
best.
busy being amazing on the ice. You think that Jaromir Jagr is hot?
Armor Yager?
Yeah, yeah, I can never pronounce it right. His wife is very hot. I sat
Oh,
next to
I'm
him at
so
a game.
distracted by his mullet.
Oh, yeah, he definitely has a mullet.
Okay, hold on, sorry, I'm trying to hold my fingers over in this particular picture that I'm looking at, he's skating, so his mullet is flowing behind him, and I can kinda block it. Yeah, he's hot.
Yes, and he just has a
Oh, this,
hot
like, picture of
attitude.
him at 45, where he, like, transitioned from the mullet to just, like, longer hair, that's hot.
He has shorter hair now.
Okay.
His wife is like an Eastern European model. She is
Naturally.
flawlessly beautiful.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. She is
yes. Yeah, we
I
can just
can't
have a
compete with
crush
her.
yeah, we can have a crush on her wife. We were
Yeah.
I wasn't saying compete.
Yeah, I do have a
Yes.
crush on her for sure.
And,
I would marry her.
I mean, I don't know. I can like name other people, but I would say that the top two are Sidney Crosby and Patrick Sharp, who have always seemed very attractive to me.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say too that like the top 10 hottest people in any sport are going to be objectively hot. I guess my better test of this would be if you just took a random sampling of players and you just randomly spit out a player. I would like to do a follow-up episode where we just are randomly generating players from different sports and we see which one has the hottest players on average.
I think that if you were to do the equivalent of shooting out NHL hockey captains or NFL QBs, which I would say that quarterbacks are captain role, whether or not they are the captain,
Mhm.
that the quarterbacks are hotter than the captains are, which is why it doesn't make sense to me that there isn't more ball romance and stuff.
Mm.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
As you know, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. I mean, I can just go on and on naming
I'll just
CJ Stroud, also
I found
attractive.
I found you I found you fanfic on this, Kit. I won't hear that there is not good writing on this as we hear about Joe Burrow's gentle, slender,
Kiss
tiny
my tight
hands.
end. Oh, he had strong and capable hands, yet gentle.
Speaking of finding and marrying the love of your life via winter sports, there are obviously a lot of couples that are of Olympic athletes that met, hooked up at the Olympic Village. There are also people that met or married. I think like Megan Rapinoe and her wife Sue Bird are the ones that they actually met in the lead up to being on Team USA together at the photo shoot, and then later got engaged. Roger Federer and Mirka Vavrinek, I don't know how to say her last name, they did meet in the athletes' village and later got married. Um, then I think
See,
another
that should be a story.
that I think why are we not just like using these as like real life basis for just doing an excellent book or movie? Another one that would make an adorable movie or book is Kate and Helen Richardson Walsh, which was the first same-sex married couple to compete at the Olympics together, but they didn't meet
Oh,
at the Olympics because they were on Team Great Britain together, but they did lead it to a gold medal victory in 2016. So I feel like that would make
oh,
a super cute movie. I have
yay.
seen videos that they still do video interviews together and stuff. But my favorite story was Diana Yorgova and Nikola Prodanov. These are two Bulgarian athletes who met before the Olympics, so they were both from Bulgaria. She was a long jumper and he was a gymnast. And so they met and were already dating going into the 1964 Olympics. They were engaged and planning to get married like a year or so after the games. This is just totally unhinged. So they're like at the games, they're in the Olympic Village. The Bulgarian ambassador to Japan is hanging out there and he's like, guys, you know what would be an amazing PR thing is if the two of you just had your wedding now here in Tokyo in the Olympic Village. And I guess they were kind of like, what the fuck? But then said yes. And this was like, I mean, this was the 60s. So it wasn't even that easy to fly people out or just text your parents or something. So she said that her parents didn't even know and they didn't have a chance to contact them. They were just
It
like,
was a weird
whatever.
move from the Bulgarian ambassador. Like,
Yeah, totally.
it's like,
But I mean, I guess if you're the Bulgarian ambassador to Japan, there's not a lot of opportunities in life that you're going to get to really like make the headlines. And this absolutely did. So yeah, they got married at the Olympic Village.
look, go Bulgarian ambassador. Great
Yeah,
move.
very creative.
No.
So yes, my closing question to you, Kay. So we live in an alternate universe where everybody has to compete in the Olympics. This year you can choose summer or winter Olympics. You can pick a sport from either. So it's not like you're just competing against the elite Olympians, but you're just like, competing against everybody who is all choosing the sport that they think they have the best chance. What sport do you pick to compete against your general peers that you would have the best chance of medaling? I know mine because I was a rower in college, so mine's super easy. I'd be on the crew team. We'd
Hmm.
kill.
Okay. I was going to say curling because it feels
This is just our default answer for
well, it
everything.
just feels like nobody knows what's going on. And if you're bad at it, you wouldn't necessarily, embarrass yourself or anything.
That's true. I do feel like a lot more people are just gonna pick whatever sport they played in high school, and so you would do best picking something that's not at most I don't know, in Canada or where is it from? Scotland? Canada? Do they have that on their high school teams?
I also think I could fence.
Sure.
Not well, but similarly, like, I
Again,
think it would
unless
be
you
a
went to a
little
really expensive prep school where I imagine they're all, like, having arguments over fencing all the time, I don't think
the
most people
Parent
even know what it
Traps,
is. Yeah,
summer
exactly.
camp.
Whatever that camp was.
Yeah, whatever that camp was, I feel like, I could at least leave without being a meme of, the breakdancing horridness on either of them. I don't wanna be notably bad in a way that, the untrained eye can see how bad I am.
Okay, I like this
Yeah,
strategy.
yeah, so curling or
I
fencing.
feel like you could also just compete in track and field, like, if you're just going up against the average person your age.
I think that we might have a skewed view of the average person our age as we disproportionately hang out with moms. Um, People who haven't had a kid and instead just kept on working out all the way through their mid-30s can probably do, like, 7-minute miles and everything.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a question it's also, like, if you're more of a distance runner or a sprinter or something.
Yes, that's correct. I could also do distance running.
Also, by the time you get to our age, a lot of women have had a kid, so or have
Right.
just, like, not been going to the gym this whole time, so I think you are disproportionately calculating the percentage of women in their
You're right,
30s who have neither had a
US-wide.
kid and have been consistently going to the gym and training
Okay.
themselves in running for this entire time.
This is definitely fair. Yes, I could also be overestimating how fit the average American woman is.
This does just fit into one of the favorite things that I ever read was that somebody's like, "You don't recognize how elite and amazing these Olympic athletes are because they're competing against other people who are the best of the best." So the absolute way to enjoy the Olympics would be that in every event, there's like
There was
6
just an
lanes or whatever.
average
There's just
person.
one person, 5 Olympic athletes, and then there's just a pacer that's in that 6th lane that is just a regular ass person just running the 100-meter just so
Getting
you can see
nowhere.
how fucking amazing these athletes are. Yeah, as you're
And
just
maybe
like,
we need that for curling so we can all appreciate the
yeah, that they are
difference.
actually they've been working really hard, and the fencers, they're not just flailing at each other,
Yeah,
and they
so
resent you
I
saying that.
volunteer. I will be that person so everybody can understand your expertise.
Really quick on our segment of revisiting issues from previous episodes, I did hear a correction from a male listener about the mention of rate my rack, and I did just want to clarify. Apparently, I did not make that known, although I am aware because I did end up seeing rate my rack on several occasions during its heyday when I was in college.
Did you rate a
Um,
rack?
I think I did definitely rate some rags, yeah. They were always pictures from the neck down, so
The
there's
face
no
wasn't
face
there.
on them, and I feel like that apparently I did not mention that, so that was not clear to you, but that would also be why there would be no benefit in submitting somebody else's rack to, like, get upvotes for yourself because it didn't matter, it was all, like, theoretically anonymous, or why you wouldn't, like, submit somebody else's. So, anyway, for all of the Rate My Rack aficionados from the past, I guess we need a fact checker who was, like, a man
Actively rating
a
racks?
man who was a filthy teenager in the heyday of stupid websites like Rate My Rack so that we could not make such terrible mistakes in the future.
Yes, we apologize, horny
On behalf of all of our
adolescents. Yeah.
horny adolescents of
Our single
2007 listeners.
adolescent listener, because you probably knew that we were wrong.
You can go
Well,
back to masturbating to internet porn now.
well, thank you for listening and happy Olympics watching.
Stay safe, wear a condom.